Hello neighbors, welcome to another year of pumpkin racing. You should have received, if you wanted one, you should have received a pumpkin racing frame. There were a crew of us that built these in 2022 to ensure that everybody who was competing had basically the same hardware, right? And the purpose of this little video is so you know how to adjust the steering on these little frames, because that is without a doubt the most important thing. All right, a little bit about the frame. You've got Razor scooter wheels, very high friction, the wheels on the surface, the ball bearings and all that stuff in the axles, there's no friction there. So what you want to avoid, and the reason that the steering is so important, is that ideally the wheels will not rub up against the ramp. That could lead to some drama. If you saw the race in 2022, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So the goal here of making sure that your frame goes straight is to avoid having your frame climb out of the ramp and having your pumpkin become a projectile. Exciting, yes, but not a good way to win. About your frame, the wheels, you're not gonna mess with those. They should be fine forever. You've got these two outside pieces here. You'll see that they are taller than the inside bit, and they are taller versus the inside because your pumpkin is almost certainly round. That is the point, right? So your pumpkin will sit inside that little valley. Okay, the left outside frame is fixed. The right one is not. The right one will pivot on this rear axle. That is because this steering rod can get longer and it can get shorter. So we have a gap here to give it some room. The center rod also has a gap here for the same reason. You can move this to the left or right with these nuts. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it, but I have no idea what your pumpkin looks like. So if there's a good reason to move it, well, move it. If someone else has moved it and you want to put it back in the center, fine, right? No problem with that. All right, the point to this video is to tell you how to straighten the frame, all right? You're gonna see on this steering rod, you see this turnbuckle. The turnbuckle, almost certainly, so high probability, it's got an L for lengthen and an S for shorten. Lengthen or shorten the steering rod, okay? You can also think of lengthen as left. If you want it to steer to the left, yep, you're going to turn the turnbuckle clockwise, right, in the direction of the arrow. If you want to shorten that steering rod and have the frame drift to the right, then you're going to turn the turnbuckle counterclockwise in this direction, okay? How are you going to know? You're going to test it, and I'll get into that in a minute. Easiest way to do that is a long piece of tape and a friend that you put on the floor in a straight line, and you can then use that to test whether your frame is going straight, right? So to get started, after you test to see is it going straight, because hey, it is possible it still is. We straighten them all before we release them. So test it first. If you need to make an adjustment, what you're going to do is loosen these two lock nuts right here up at the top. Yes, I had a wrench for that. You're going to loosen these, all right, and it could be clockwise or counterclockwise. Okay, generally you're going to turn them to you'll turn them in a counterclockwise direction to loosen them. Once you have loosened them, then you can turn the turnbuckle however you need to, all right? And again, you're going to turn the turnbuckle, you're going to turn it clockwise or in the direction of this lengthen arrow. If you want to make it longer, you're going to turn it counterclockwise if you want to make it shorter. All right. Once you have adjusted this, and I'm talking 1/8 of a turn, and then test it. All right. You would be surprised at how small a turn you do and the impact that you get. Right. So you're not going to be turning things. I'd be really astonished if you turned this more than 1/8 of a turn in either direction to get straight. All right. Once you've adjusted this and you've tested it and you're happy that it is as straight as you can get it, then you're going to tighten the 2 lock nuts and you're good to go. All right, now you can see the blue tape line on the floor of my shop, and you can see the racer. The racer, I tried to carefully place it so that the wheels are centered on that tape line, okay? And so basically, I'm gonna gently push the frame, and I wanna see how this, all right, I could say if this, but yeah, I'm gonna assume that there'll be a little adjustment that needs to be made. I wanna see how this thing deviates from this tape line. So here we go, just a gentle push. And you can see that it is veering to the right. And it doesn't veer to the right and keep a straight line. It veers a bit to the right. So that means that steering column, we need to make that a little bit longer. So L long goes to left, right? So that will veer a little bit to the left. So let me get it. All right, so we need to make the steering column, we need to make that a little bit longer, okay? So first, I'm simply going to release those 2 bolts, okay? All right, and so let me see. Yeah, that's right, okay? Because this is going to push this way. So I am going to make this, I'm going to do 1/8 of a turn, right? That's it. I'm going to do 1/8 of a turn, and I'm going to tighten those back to lock them. Okay. And then I'm going to put them down on the tape again. I'll center it as best I can. That's pretty good. Okay, so here we go. All right, so let's see. So it wound up a little bit to the left. We're going to test it again, because if the steering is off, then it will continue as we go down the stripe, then it will continue to veer to the left. Okay, so here we go. Second run. See, that looks pretty doggone straight. All right, I would argue that gap was because I did not have it straight when I started it. That was essentially, that was a straight run. It did not continue to veer left or right, and there we go. That's what I want. Okay, and that's it. So those are the fundamentals, okay? Everything here, especially around the wheels, you don't need to mess with them. The only thing that you're going to be adjusting is the steering column here on the right side. All of our sleds, have almost certainly put an arrow on them, right? Arrow pointing forward, all right? This is the only thing that you need to change, okay? Can you change them? I mean, you can change other stuff, but you're not going to get really anything out of that. This is the only thing you need to change, okay? You've got a turnbuckle here that you're going to make this longer or shorter. If you make this longer, right, then your little racing frame is going to go to the left. If you make it shorter, it's going to go to the right. Okay? That is all you need. So, good luck.